Hi guys, welcome back to my build of the 5-foot Millennium Falcon miniature. Today I thought I'd do something a bit different and talk about just how I came, well, my journey of just how this Falcon model came about and my early days of Star Wars, I guess, what Star Wars means to me, and just, yeah, I'm just gonna do quite a bit of ramble on books and things like that. So I guess the very first introduction to Star Wars for me was this magazine, the Starlog number 7. Now, I'm in New Zealand, so pretty much this came out, I think it was August 1977, and we received it here, I think, early 78, probably about, well, I don't know, maybe March, something like that. But I saw Star Wars in Napier, Hawke's Bay, New Zealand, when we were visiting my grandparents, and my dad bought me this magazine, and we hadn't seen Star Wars yet, but this magazine was on the shelves, and as soon as I saw that cover I thought, wow, Dad, we got to go and see this movie. So we did, and I was just blown away. I think we actually went to see it again. It was Easter, yeah, it was Easter time, 1978. There's quite a delay for Star Wars to actually arrive into New Zealand, but this Starlog number 7 was my first publication or magazine introduction to Star Wars. So yeah, and that was just mind-boggling images of like the Y-wing there, and I just couldn't wait to see the movie. But yeah, and so there's quite a write-up in there of the movie, and I just read that from that article for ages, just going through it, like even noting down the names of people and things, and it was just, yeah, and looking at the Sandcrawler concept art there, I just thought, wow, this is amazing. So that was my very first, I actually got this magazine before I saw the movie, and I just oogled over this book for years. This is, you know, I still have this, which is amazing. Yeah, so, and then more publications came out. This one came out. My grandfather bought this for me in a local bookshop in my town here, and this was actually the Marvel Collector's Edition magazine, and you know, any pictures we could get back then was just gold, you know, and I just used to go through these magazines like wildfire. But here we have the write-up on ILM and the models. Now I was just so taken aback with the hardware of Star Wars, not so much the creatures and robots as such, but the ships. And first look at the Millennium Falcon, and I thought surely it couldn't be that big. I think that's John Dykstra there, but yeah, and that miniature, looking at it, just blew my mind. And then these pictures here, they actually call this here a lightsaber handle, which is actually the Rebel blockade runner. For some funny little bit of trivia there. And this here is the Millennium Falcon's main quad gun on a 5-foot model, and they call this the Galactic Cruiser for some reason. So they completely missed the boat with the descriptions of the models there, but there you go. So yeah, this describes how it was done, and to see all those miniatures on that table, I was just, as a kid, I think I was like 10 in 1977, so 1178. Yeah, to see this was just absolutely mind-blowing. So that was that magazine. That was my second magazine. And then this one came along, it's pretty much all black and white, but I had to have it. And again, my parents bought me this, but it's all images of everything Star Wars, like there's Kenny Baker there, and so you learnt that, okay, there's guys in R2 and 3PO there, but yeah, it's a bit of a junker, this magazine. It's all in black and white and cheap paper, but I still have it. It's still a absolutely treasured item. Love it to bits. $1.30 New Zealand. That was quite cheap. This one here, I think, was $3.25, which was fair bit of money back in 1978. So, and then other publications came along. My dad was buying these for me, the Star Wars Poster Monthly. But it was just so erratic, these magazines, these poster monthlies coming into New Zealand. I was like, as a kid, I just anxiously went with Dad on Friday night to, he used to get magazines, and I was hoping like heck that my magazine would be there, and no. And then they just stopped. I think I got like 4 of these, and then they just stopped for some reason. But they were absolutely gold for a kid. And then other things came along. I think this particular magazine only lasted 3 issues, and then it folded. It just got on the bandwagon of Star Wars, and but it had things in there like 2001. But yeah, absolutely, to have these is still amazing. And then this magazine. In 1980, my parents separated, and I went to live with my mum in the UK, and my dad sent me this, and this was my first real look. It was into the ships of Star Wars. So where are we? But the one picture that really blew my mind was this one. Classic view of the Millennium Falcon, and I used to pore over this picture for hours and hours, looking at all the detail. I even knew back then that the detailing was from model kits, but it never occurred to me that every piece or anything could ever be ID'd from there. It didn't occur to me. But that model, seeing it there, just blew my mind. And that was the first sort of good look at the Falcon, where I could make out the proportions and how the sub-assemblies and everything tied in. Because I tried to make one from scratch out of styrene, even in 1980 I would have been 13, and I got it all wrong. Like this, the walkway was over here and blah blah blah, and the cockpit was too long and stuff like that. So yeah, but then at the bookshop in the village that we were in with Mum and I in the UK there, Plymouth was on one side, Devon, and we were actually on the Cornwall side in a village called Millbrook. And in that bookshop, come toy model shop, was the NPC model Falcon, Millennium Falcon, and I put that on lay-by because I was doing a paper round at the time, and my dad actually helped me finish paying that off, and I got that home and opened it, and I was just so disappointed with that model, because for weeks and months of looking at this particular image, it was like nothing like the NPC model kit, unfortunately. Today, if most people would know about the Perfect Grade Bandai Millennium Falcon model kit, that was the kit that I envisioned in my head as having, with all the detail and everything pretty much correct. But that NPC it just so disappointed me. I think I actually built and painted within 3 days, like over a Friday night and a weekend. So yeah, and of course in 1980 we went to see The Empire Strikes Back. My friend and I, we actually went to one session, then we snuck down in the seats and we saw the next session for free. We actually stayed in, and we were naughty boys. We didn't get back to about 11 o'clock at night. So yeah, so it was all good. But yeah, this actually, is falling to pieces. But it's the Scale Models Special that was taken off the Calmback publication that was in the States. So it's like a MAP Publishing republished it for the UK market, and I just love that magazine. So yeah, yeah. I will say, my parents got back together in 1982, so that was a yeah, good point for just in that story. But yeah, so I guess. Oh, and this one, the official collector's edition, The Empire Strikes Back. I've actually got it in a ring binder form because I pulled it apart and stuck the pictures on my wall, or like all the ILM pictures and things. Where are we? Yeah, so this sort of thing. There's Richard Edlund there with the Star Destroyer. The guy's working on Vader's Super Star Destroyer there, and it's just images like this, which is just totally, yeah, absolutely amazing. So yeah, so got back to New Zealand in 1982. Jedi came out in 83. Again, I got more books, more magazines. I will say, like right now, I've got hundreds of magazines and books that I'll never get rid of. They're just all treasured items, especially the early stuff, the very early first stuff. I've got all the early Star logs, and I'll just never let them go, So, but in the 90s, a magazine came out. It was these are the books. They changed the format, but it was called Sci-Fi and Fantasy Modeler, and it was a UK publication, and I think it was monthly or bi-monthly, and it only lasted somewhere right between 50 or 52 issues, and I have them all, but they changed the format into these books later on, and again, everything Star Wars I collected into there. And this book here is absolutely amazing for the images. So Falcon imagery, there's Steve Gawley there taking the engine cover off the Falcon. I never knew that was how it was, so just priceless items. But yeah, all those 52 issues, I just love that magazine. I couldn't wait for it to come through. There's guys in there like David Sisson from the UK that makes the most amazing Jerry Anderson models. That inspired me to show what was possible, not in the Jerry Anderson models, but it is possible to make studio scale models, like accurate replicas of the Star Wars ships. So yeah, from there they ran for quite a while, these ones, so I collected a few of them, mainly all the Star Wars issues. But in the meantime, like in the 90s, books like this came out, from Indiana Jones, from Star Wars to Indiana Jones, the best of the Lucasfilm archives, and this was a really good look at, all the ships, hardware. Yeah, this is a classic book. I mean, all you guys are going to have this. The Y-Wing, I just used to pore over that and look at all the kit details, and try and ID stuff. So I tried, attempted to build a Y-Wing in, God, it must have been about 1999, and I knew the engines were the Saturn V rocket bodies, the cones were the eggs containers, and I drew my own blueprint and everything, but I actually never finished it. So that was my first attempt at a studio scale model, but I still had a hankering for a Falcon, and I did attempt to do a 32-inch one out of balsa that I was gonna, how do I put it, I was using PVA then, brushing it on. You brush one coat on smooth onto balsa wood, well, you brush it on and let that set. It's rough, you sand it, and you brush on another coat of PVA glue. This is the wood glue, and it goes absolutely smooth. And now you can still sand it a little bit, but styrene and model kit parts to that PVA hard setting glue, the smooth surface, you never pull it off. You're going to pull the glue off the wood before you separate the parts. But unfortunately we moved and I had to just get rid of that model. It was unfinished, and me being me, I hadn't worked out how I was going to attach the mandibles to the core, so that was never going to work. So I just threw that into a skip. We moved house and built a house, and it just had to go. So yeah, so that was that. But yeah, so in regards to the Falcon, I joined the RPF, I think in 2007, and my first, I'm just come up here so you can look up the Falcon, but I joined the RPF in 2007, and my first, well actually my only other studio scale model was the TIE Bomber, and I built that and was conversing with guys all over the RPF, and just loved building that, and I finished it and put it in the junkyard of the RPF, and it sold within an hour to a guy in Paris, I believe. And I thought, oh, maybe I sold that too cheaply. But anyway, I had good fun doing that, but I still had a hankering, an urge to build the 5-footer Falcon. So, but luckily, you know, there were guys on the RPF IDing parts, and that was in the, yeah, that would have been in early, like 2010, something like that. And yeah, we were IDing parts left, right and center, and working out measures and things. And yeah, so I started collecting model kits back then. Like my first big serious model kit was, where are we? This big Bandai Panther G 24 scale. The Falcon is absolutely plastered in it. And where are we going with this? Yeah, I'm just going over here to show like the Panther parts. So like over here, and yeah, there's a few there and there. And these here, yeah. So I spent quite a lot of time working out, well, how am I going to build the hull of this thing? And I initially thought of the pie wedge technique, where it's just sections of pizza pie shaped styrene over a frame, and work it out that way. But I didn't really care for that much, because I wanted to cut pits into it and still be hollow at the back for lighting and things. So end of the day, you know, there were years of just collecting the kit parts, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to do it where I'm going to make a buck for vac forming, and I had the domes vac formed, and yeah, this is what you see today. And I will say that the biggest factor was joining a group with Andre Bustanovi, Joshua Maruska, and Sean Sides came in a bit later, and he, as you guys know, he absolutely blitzed his model. It's absolutely beautiful 5-footer Falcon replica. Yeah, and I think he did his in 3 years. So I'm still here battling away doing this, but getting there. I estimate probably another 3 months tops to get this knocked out. But yeah, I hope that gives you guys a bit of an insight into my journey into Star Wars and the 5-footer Falcon. Again, yeah, if there's any questions, just pop them up and I'll try and answer. So yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for watching and listening. Take care. Thanks.